Welcome to Pagan Crafting. I'm your host, Cara. Today we're going to do a hashtag show and spell. I have work to do. I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of work to do in my apothecary. I have relabeling to do. I just saw an empty jar. So I also need to go through things that I'm short of, that I'm missing, things that I would love to have. I'm just going to make a list and I'm going to relabel. Now I thought while I'm doing that, we could do a cool hashtag. I've come up with 13 questions. I'll show you them here. And in these 13 questions, there are prompts to get to know your favorite content creator. So at the end of this video, I'm gonna tag a few of my friends and people who I've seen some slight glimpses here and there. Other people, I'm just so curious on what they have, because your apothecary it's different. It's different nowadays. It's different. A witchy apothecary is like an extension of your soul. It's a form of your personality. As you extend yourself throughout your house, I find some of mine is more private, like I have in my room here. Other parts I have in my healing center that is very interactive. And I use it all the time. I create my own blends from scratch. I have blends that are ready on hand. I have different smudge sticks of different types of herbs that have been found, created, traded, bought. And I love having my downstairs or when I have company over to be more interactive, especially when I have my healing clients over. But here is more private. So I am curious to see your apothecary. So I've created this hashtag and I'm going to take some content creators here at the end of this too, because there's a few of you out there where I've seen little glimpses, little hints. I was like, oh, some of you are just so unique that I'm just dying. Oh, I just want to see what you got. I have a few things, anything from like bones to skins to oils, essential oils, from flowers to bark to thorns, stones, crystals, gem dust, century-old red brick dust. Just some good old-fashioned moon oil. You name it, I have it in my apothecary. I even have a few things such as my oils here. I have days of the week, planetary oils, chakra oils. I have the zodiac seasons as well as the planetary seasons when they're at their peak each year. I collected oils from. Divination inks, more crystals, more bottles, more spell jars, dried up things, dead things. I think this tag is going to be up to each person's interpretation, because as a witch, as an occultist, as a pagan, we express ourselves, and you can actually read someone's apothecary and learn a lot about them. And then if you ask them questions where they got it, where they found it, oh, this is a video for you. So you're going to check out this hashtag over the next few weeks. We're going to have a few videos that are going to be coming up with some of the people that I've tagged, and then they're going to tag people, and tag is going to grow, and you're going to be able to discover also along the way some really cool new content creators that you may not have met and seen before. You may see some familiar faces, you may see some new faces, but please enjoy this hashtag, and I'm excited to show you this. So let's go through the questions together. So our first question that we have is origins of the collection. What inspired you to start collecting apothecary items, and how did it begin your collection? I've been collecting weird stuff for a long time. I think my first collection started off with found things from the forest. A lot of feathers, some shells, a lot of bones, a lot of bones, a lot of rocks, a lot of crystals, twigs, bark. A lot of stuff that I find, like I have anything from like collection of moss. There's oak leaves. I was from London, Canada. I have some a scrying porcupine quill. I have memories from different walks, different areas. I have all stamens for some fertility magic that was from some wild lilies from Nordegg and near the BC Alberta border. And I like to just find stuff. So I think my first collection really started off with just some oddities. And then I started collecting more herbs and stuff as I was starting to create more blends. And then it created, as I was creating more smudge blends, I started creating more herbs. And then I just started collecting things along my way, along my pathways. And I like mushroom foraging. And I'd forage for my dandelions, make myself, things like that. But my collection really didn't start growing till probably 10 years ago. And then I got into foraging, I'd say like hardcore. Some pretty good foraging for my collection. Like I said, about 80% of my collection here now is either traded, bought, farmer, organic, or I foraged for myself. The 20% I've either bought online, bought an unknown. Certain stores I'm not sure about, but they still said it's organic, but you never know. So I'm just going to reckon that I'd say about 80% of my collection is natural now and organic from my own foraging. I've been foraging more, so I'd say for about 5-6 years. And before, when I was foraging, it would just be for like, just go get my berries, go get my dandelions, to have my dandelion root tea. I wasn't that much of a big forager. Now I have like a mission. I do a lot of spells with it. I make my blends, my teas, I cook with it. So a lot of the origin of my collection stems from many different things. Question number 2. Storage. What do you use and any special significance behind your choices? Well, I'm a witch, so I like jars. So a pretty happy pagan here. Everything, a lot of the stuff that I use, I've managed to transfer all my other items out of plastic, any plastic bags it comes in. Anything that I've bought online, I get it out of the plastic, out of the bag right away. And I've been blessed that I've been able to afford almost everything that goes into my mason jars. And it just stacks a lot nicer too. Excuse me. And it stacks a lot nicer too. And it's good for labeling. And the next question number 3 brings us to labeling. What do you use as your labels and what is your process in labeling? What do you write on your labels? All right, so my labels right now are pretty corny. I just use a roll. Let's just use a roll and my Sharpie, and I put on, I'll put on 2 to 3 stickers. One sticker will have what the item is. So I have jasmine flowers, and with that I'll have the planetary ruler. I'll have if it's divine or feminine, divine feminine or divine masculine. And then I'll have the element, and then I'll have I just use the symbols itself. So then I'll have the other side. If I collected it myself, I will have the foraging date that I had on here so I know how old it is. And then the third sticker or the second sticker will usually have love, money, profit, dreams. This is what this one's good for. It'll have what it means, to a little message with it. So I'll have some correspondences with the symbols on the label, what it is, and what it's good for. Right now I just have magical uses. I don't have the medicinal uses. I have that written down, so when I need anything, I will just look it up. All right, question number 4. Favorite item or items. Can you show us your favorite items in your collection? Explain why it holds special significance to you. So my favorite item. Actually, this one would be a hard question for me. I had to ponder this because I have so many things I really love in this little... If I'm just going to have to pick quick, I'm going to pick my happiness salt. My happiness salt here is... I'll sprinkle this everywhere and I'll give it away all the time. This brings on, I think it's strength, it's for friendship, for of course for happiness, for kindness, and courage. That's what it was, not kindness, it was for courage. So courage, strength, happiness, and friendship. I think this is one of my favorite items that I've created and made from scratch, and I'm very, very proud of this one. I designed this a couple years ago, and I sprinkle it like Johnny Appleseed everywhere. Okay, so our next question is historical significance. What are some of the most historically significant pieces in your collection? Can you share any interesting stories behind them? Well, I'm from Canada. We're not like Europeans or people in UK or... We don't have a lot of history here, but part of the only thing that I have that is really historically significant for me that I can think of is... It looks really strange. I got it in a giant jar right now so I can keep it so it doesn't break down. This is actually twine from my grandfather's farm. It's used for baling hay. This type of twine is no longer made anymore. It's not used anymore, and it was made on the square bales. This was at my grandfather's farm I got when I was pregnant with my daughter, and he passed away 3 months after that. So this not only ties my grandfather, the land, my family, where my mother grew up, the land that my grandfather and my grandmother worked. This has ties to the blood, sweat, and tears, literally. And they raised beef cattle in a very small farm, so it wasn't commercial. It was very nicely done, so don't you worry none. And my grandfather was extremely gifted, and so was his wife. So was my grandmother, and so were their children. They had 6 daughters and 1 son, and they're all very, 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 very gifted. Whether psychics, mediums, you name it, they have it. They see, they talk to spirits, they can bring people over. And out of 12 grandchildren, 6 of us are very, 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 very gifted as well. So I like to use this not only in the beginning. I thought I'm going to use this to be great for not magic, but this one being my ties to my ancestral magic, especially during Samhain when the door and the veil are open. So I like to bring in pieces of this twine into my special workings, and I only bring this out once every couple years or so. I do bring it out. I brought it out last year for the first time, and I used some in the ceremony. And that was like, I was using it so sparingly because the farm has been sold since the grandparents have been passed, and you can't get this anymore, especially from there. So that would be my historical significance. One, as an odd as it is, but it's a wonderful tie to my ancestry. Number 6, Spellcraft integration. How do you incorporate these apothecary items into your spellcraft? Are there many or any specific items that you find particularly effective? Well, I would definitely have to say my healing center. That I have I have a whole just shelf full of just my smudging herbs. I have my shell. I have another area of the shelf that is just all my smudge sticks of many different varieties, from dragon's blood resin to Yuba Ursa to, of course, sage sticks to Palo Santo, you name it, is in there. So I think would be my healing center, would be probably my funnest thing to use there. Now I incorporate most of these items into anything from spell bags, mojo bags, to talismans. I'll make little teeny tiny spell jars you can wear around your neck, or spell jars for your earrings. So as you're moving, it's activating these little spell globes. Now there's so many different ways to use your herbs. I like to use them with my candles for anointing. I will also use it in my cooking. I will sprinkle it places. I definitely like little bag bombs. I'll make all kinds of little integrations with that. And number 7, rare finds. What's the rarest and most unique item in your collection, and how did you come across it? Okay, rare. I do have a dried bat and a dried frog. I love this little guy. I found like this petrified frog, and he was all dried up at this cabin we had gone to. And he had been between the floorboards and the log cabin. So I think it was a cedar wood, and the combination just dried and preserved him perfectly. During that same day, I also found a little bat that had been dried up, a little baby bat. And this was a night of a meteor shower, actually, now that I think about it. We were all going out to a friend's cabin, and there was like a huge bonfire. We had tents everywhere, people everywhere, and there was just all kinds of really cool people that got together and had a lot of fun together. So not a really significant story on how I came across it, but people like, Cara, you like weird shit? I'm like, yeah, I like dead things. So yeah, I got this, and I got a little frog sticker. It looked like the same frog. Don't have a sticker for the bat though, but that's some of my rare items that I have that I cherish. So the first part of my growth, the beginnings in my apothecary, was more dead things and bone things. So this is the beginning. Gee, I think I've had those for, I don't know, 10 years or more for sure. All right, our next question is care and preservation. What steps do you take to preserve and care for your apothecary items, especially the more fragile or the older pieces? Well, that just kind of goes with those two little pieces that I have there. And I also have a dried up snake as well there too, I have in a jar. So everything I have in glass jars. I don't put anything in plastic. I believe plastic takes away the magic of the item and it drains its energy. So everything is preserved, and I have it in mason jars, tight lids, nice and airtight. And that way things can't, when air gets to certain herbs, it discolors them. The potency's sometimes lost, but sometimes, like parsley, if it's in light when it's dried, it goes yellow. I used to throw it out not knowing that it was still just as potent and just as good. So again, darker places, mason jars, keeps everybody happy. Our next question, question number 9, future additions. Are there any specific items or types of items you are currently searching for to add to your collection? I think I would, oh man, see, I did a road opener spell a while back. And my last herb to get for that was the El Cabre. It's a road opening herb. Cost me $35 for 100 grams. Ouch. But I really wanted this spell to work. And it did. It took me a month to do, and boy, I should do another video on that one about the outcome of that spell, since we did the spell with you together, but another video for another day. Future editions. I would really love more of that herb. That herb was powerful. Expensive, but powerful. So number 10 for question, what is the most bizarre item in your apothecary collection and how do you use it? I don't know if I'd say bizarre because everybody's bizarre is a little different. But I like the word bizarre, but I'm going to use it. Okay, so I think the weirdest, most bizarre item that I have, besides I have some bones from some really unique creatures. Some of them are illegal. I can't tell on camera. But I can say that I have this honey lotus thorn. This isn't like a totally bizarre item. It was just like a very hard item for me to find. And I'll show you here. If I can get it out. I don't want to break it. Look at that. So cool. It's like the Sleeping Beauty thorns. So this stuff, I only got 2 of them that was in a pack. I bought it off of Witch. The Honey Lotus Thorns is good for hexing and cursing. So it's kind of like a jack of all trades, this one. That's why I wanted it. It took me a couple years to find it. But it's good for hexing and curses. It works great for protection, defense, strength, and love. It also protects the fairy dwellings and their portals. So an absolutely fun little item here. Now I have, oh God, I can't even look. I need to relabel all my stuff. And I also need to go through and find out what I'm missing. Okay, next question, number 11. If you could only keep one ingredient, what would it be? I didn't think about this question beforehand. I'd say rosemary. Such a common herb, yeah. But it's easy to find, smells great, amazing to cook with almost on everything. It's incredible to burn. The protection properties are incredible. The magic and medicinal uses are outstanding. I'm going to go with rosemary. Number 12. Advice for new collectors. What advice would you give to someone who is just starting their own apothecary collection? Well, have fun with it. Be absolutely free with it. Be chaotic with it. Let it be an extension of your personality. You can tell a lot from someone's apothecary, and let it be an extension of your soul. And mine all started off with bones and dead things and things I collected in the forest. Then I got into more foraging, so then it was herbs, and I integrated. Then I wasn't having to buy my herbs for spells. Like, screw that. So yeah, it's let it just take shape and have fun with it and run with it and let it shape and take itself, bring its own form out. Is what I'm trying to say. Let it be an extension of your personality, I think would be my best advice. So our last question is number 13. Curious about a fellow creator's apothecary. Who would you tag in this video? Oh, I got some girls for you. We have one, I'm going to tag Starlight the Wild Witch. Next is Magical Crafting. That's right. Natural Witchery. Lavender Hazelwood, as well as Beverly Butterfly, Tuva the Norse Witch, and I'd also like to tag Jodie McDowell. She is a new up-and-coming pagan witch creator in our community, and I'd love to welcome her. Maybe she's going to jump on this hashtag with us, and that'd be super cool. So if you want to see more videos from other content creators, over the next couple weeks they're going to be flooding in and flowing in. And so you can just click on the hashtag, you're going to see the original video, the original tag, and then you're going to see other people that do the hashtag as well. Well, right. Well, have yourself a wonderful and an absolutely magical day. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Skål.